Hi, this is Kyle Schwarber, and welcome to the Phillies Show.
Ruben Amaro Jr., Jim Salisbury, Todd Zolecki. It's the Phillies Show. It is the Phillies Show. Here we are. It's Wednesday, November 5th, 2025. We spent Monday, guys, going over a long list of free agent possibilities, some realistic, some not so realistic. But, we had to break them down. So if you didn't miss Monday's show, go back and check that out. Today, though,
check it out.
You can't just make free agents. You can't just improve the roster via free agency. Sometimes you have to make a trade, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And let's get going. It's time for the Parks First Pitch. First Pitch is brought to us exclusively by our partners at Parks Casino, Pennsylvania's #1 casino. Monday we spent the entire time talking about free agency, and we started looking at some free agent catchers, and it was not a great list. So let's start with catching again, just in case JT Realmuto does not re-sign. Let's look at some of the trades. Tim Britton at The Athletic today, I want to mention this first. He does like a projected contracts for all like the top free agents, and his projection for JT Realmuto is 3 years, $45 million. Gun to your head, Ruben, do you do it right now?
Yes,
I would too. Jim,
3 times 15. Yes, I do it.
Yeah, I think ideally it's like a 2-year, $32 million, but if you got to get him off the market with a $15 million AAV, I think you do it because he's that important to the team. And I like this topic, Todd, trades, because we did free agents the other day, and I see the Phillies route to improvement this winter as a combination of the two. I think they can do a significant free agent move. The more I think about it, because of the money they're going to free up next year with Castellanos and Taiwan coming off the books. And but I think they're also going to have to make a trade to get another piece in here that helps you move forward. So perfect timing.
So let's just say though that the Giants come calling, or another team comes calling, and they give JT 4 years, 60, and the Phillies say, we're out. We can't do it. We can't go 4 years, 60, JT. We love you. Now they might have to make a trade. So I'm going to throw some names out at you guys. Some may be more tradable than others. Adley Rutschman, Sean Murphy from the Braves, who would be a salary dump from Atlanta. Hunter Goodman from the Rockies, who had a great year, but it would probably cost you a lot. Ryan Jeffers from the Twins, pretty good catcher. He's going to be a free agent after next season. The Twins are in like rebuild mode. Any of those guys? Yeah, any thoughts on those guys? What about, Ryan Jeffers, free agent after 2026? What kind of flow does he give you guys?
Medium flow for me.
Yeah.
Pretty good offensive player. You mentioned Murphy, salary dump, Braves. Kind of remind you a little bit of different position, but maybe a little bit of Millwood.
Right. And we flip-flopped Johnny Estrada for him, moved to catcher for Millwood. Yeah, it's interesting. It's a possibility. Not sure if they would do it in division, but they might. Alex Anthopoulos might consider it. What about a guy like Patrick Bailey? Doesn't he become available if the Giants go and get Mr. Realmuto?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I would think so.
And he's more of a defensive guy.
Right.
And they might want a more well-rounded player in Realmuto. Although, I know money talks. They have a new manager over there who's coming from college. Mm-hmm. Does Realmuto want to go to that situation? I don't know. I just don't know whether that guy is going to be somebody that a major winning player is going to want to play for. Not sure.
Mm-hmm. Interesting
point.
Maybe I'm an old school man on the lawn, but I'm not sure. It'll be interesting to see what kind of players that they can attract with that guy at the helm.
Come at the end of March when we do our season look ahead, I mean, that's going to be one of the big storylines. How's Tony Vitello, going to handle the San Francisco Giants? I mean, he's got a hell of a resume. It's just at the college level. He's built a hell of a program over there. Just sticking with the catcher side, did you mention Hunter Goodman?
I did mention Hunter Goodman. Now, he had a great year for the Rockies.
Interesting. Very heavy flow.
Yes. But now he's not going to be cheap because he's got 4 years of team control remaining. So you're going to have to pay up something pretty significant, I would think, to get him. But you never know what the Rockies are going to do. They could give him away for free for all we know.
I don't think you give away a guy like that.
They don't even know who the GM is going to be over there. But it is interesting. Hunter Goodman is an asset. And if they want to get some pitching, and if they want to get some young, controllable players, he's the kind of guy that you can move to do that. I don't know if the Phillies have those guys unless they feel like, hey, can Justin Crawford and Aiden Miller be a couple of guys that we would consider making a run at for Hunter Goodman? Is that too heavy?
Too heavy for me.
I
think with the history of the Rockies, with the history of the Rockies, I think you only move a young, controllable guy like that at a premium position, and I think you only move him for pitching. So I tend to think they might, and what I'm saying is young pitching, I think they might be prone to build around him, but if he's available, I would be in on it.
Would you trade Andrew Painter for Hunter Goodman? Straight up.
No.
I would not.
Okay.
I would not.
Because Andrew Painter's going to be a real contributor here for a number of years, and bring back JT is just going to cost you money.
Agreed.
So,
I think these are all worst case. You have to trade for a catcher because JT leaves. And then the last guy I want to mention. So we mentioned Jeffers, Hunter Goodman, Sean Murphy. He has not played very well. He's hit a combined 197, 676 OPS the last 2 years. And he's expendable because Drake Baldwin's kind of emerged down in Atlanta. Yeah. And so the last guy is a lot of Phillies fans have asked about is the guy right down I-95, Adley Rutschman. He's interesting. Now he's under team control through 2027. So you would get 2 years of Adley, big name, first overall pick, but the last 2 seasons, he's hit a combined 240 with a 696 OPS. And the thing that's interesting to me is his career OPS is about 111 points lower at catcher than at DH. So he spends a lot of time hitting DH. He spends a lot of time catching. He signs with the Phillies. He's going to be your catcher. You're not trading for him to have him DH 40, 50 games. That's going to be Kyle Schwarber's job, you hope. So you trade for Adley Rutschman. What kind of guy are you getting? That's
so I'm going to have to delve into this a little bit deeper. If I was the GM, I have a relationship with a guy like Freddie Gonzalez who lived with the guy. He's a catching guy. He was one of his coaches, watched him sort of grow up as a major leaguer. I would have to get a little bit more information from him to find out, does he run a great game? Do the pitchers really like to work with him? Does he get affected by not performing well offensively behind the dish when he's behind the dish? All of those little pieces of information that I would try to glean, I would certainly try to glean from a guy like Freddie, for instance. Just because he's out there, he's a free agent. Freddie's not going to be back with Atlanta. But I just feel like you have to get pieces of information from people, because if you don't, then you're not really sure what you get from a position that is the most vital position I think that the Phillies could fill one way or another, because their strength is pitching, starting pitching in particular, and they really need somebody to be able to handle that starting pitching. Now, this kid may be great. He may be prepared. He may do all the things that are necessary to be a championship caliber catcher. They did win a division with him as a catcher once. So he's been there and sort of done that. But does he handle all of that well? Number one. Number two, one thing that I do think that has leaned on him a little bit and been heavy on him is that he is a guy that they've been counting on as the guy.
True.
In Philadelphia, you don't have to be the guy. If you got Schwarber, Harper, and Turner, those are the guys.
Mm-hmm.
This is just another guy, and he's not the guy for that team. So maybe he can blend in a little bit, doesn't have to take all the heat about, being the best offensive player. Maybe he can just concentrate on being a really good defensive player. I don't know. There's a lot of things to talk about. I think it's an important position. I know I took up a lot of time here, but it's such an important position that there's a lot of things to think about when you're trying to acquire a guy like that.
He was not long ago a great marquee name, big time prospect, cornerstone of a franchise type of young player. And it is head scratching why it hasn't happened for him down there, because he's had the opportunity. It's head scratching that he's not their full-time catcher all the time, that he goes to DH, but might be a great change of scenery candidate. But I still think he's close enough to that 1-1 status and still has enough of a name where he's going to cost you. He's going to cost a lot in what you have to give up, and you need to be sure he's going to be a good player for you. So, but it's a really interesting name and an interesting pedigree. I think the Phillies acquired JT at almost like the same age and same point in his career, 2 years from becoming a free agent. And look what happened to him here. He really continued to blossom.
So, I mean, the reason why he becomes sort of possibly available and why you would think, their GM would go ahead, Mike Elias would, sorry, I'm getting old. Mike Elias would make the move is because they have a premier offensive catcher in the Latin American kid,
Bastardo,
Barboza, whatever. I'm sorry. I apologize for the names. I don't have all this stuff in front of me.
And they signed him.
And this is a kid that's got a chance to be really, really, really good for a long time now. I don't know if he's going to be. He seems like he's going to be more of an offensive player than a defensive player, but he is a catcher who can swing that pole. And so that may very well make this guy, Adley Rutschman, an available big-time commodity that can be moved by Mike Elias. So that's the only reason why we're talking about it, I think.
And they're another team that needs pitching. I don't know how deep the Phillies can go beyond Painter to at least intrigue the Orioles, but the Orioles need to put some pitching on that.
Oh, they sure do, because their offensively they've done well, but their pitching's real short right now.
All righty. So we are off and running, having a lot of fun, talking about some potential trade candidates. And that was First Pitch, presented exclusively by our partners at Parx Casino. ParxCasino.com is the website. It's your number one casino in Pennsylvania. You must be 21. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, we've told you about Huel's new Daily Greens ready-to-drink can, but also we do not want to forget about the OG.
Your favorite. You love that chocolate peanut butter flavor.
I do.
You and Kratz love that chocolate peanut butter flavor.
That's my favorite one. Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
The breakdown.
The vanilla, also good, but when they sent me the chocolate peanut butter, it's like a dessert, but it's not.
35 grams of protein, no added sugar, gluten-free for your boy, under $5 per meal, because it's
a meal replacement.
A meal in a drink. 6 grams of fiber, 27 essential vitamins and minerals. Huel makes healthy eating simple. They also just launched into Target stores nationwide. Try both products today with 15% off your purchase for new customers with the exclusive code FOUL at Huel.com/foul. Use that code, fill out the post-checkout survey to help support FT.
We are back. Hey, if you're watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button.
Yeah.
If you haven't yet, what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button on YouTube, of course, Apple, Spotify as well. And of course, I always got to mention the PhillyShowShop.com is open. So go to the PhillyShowShop.com and pick up your Philly Show swag. The holidays are coming. Hey, now. Want to mention that Last week we had our Shibe Vintage Sports giveaway, and last week's winner, it was a Phillies cap, Phillies t-shirt, and Jimmy Rollins autographed baseball card.
Ooh.
Humberto Rios from
Humberto.
Orlando. Humberto Rios
Felicitaciones.
from Orlando, Florida, is the big winner. And all the last couple months, of course, we've been talking about their big end of the year giveaway, the year supply of Shibe Sports t-shirts. So our buddy Brian Michael at Shibe is going to give me that winner later this week. So if you entered the contest, you entered for the year supply of t-shirts.
A year supply, dude. You got to get more like space in your drawers.
365 t-shirts.
I don't know if it's that many, Jim. Let's not overpromise, but it's a lot. It's a lot of t-shirts. So, okay, let's talk about second base, some trade candidates that play second base. And kind of like last week, we mentioned, I think we just mentioned Gleyber Torres as a free agent second baseman. You're like, why are we doing this? They have Bryson Stott. And yes, they do. But you never know what the Phillies are going to do this offseason. They have to be creative. Maybe the right piece comes along where, somebody wants Bryson Stott, it fills another need, and then they make another trade. I don't know. Or maybe you take one of these guys, you move in a different position. Who knows? But I'm going to talk about three guys that have been mentioned as possibilities. Some may be more likely than others. And let's start with the big one, Ketel Marte in Arizona.
Ketel Marte.
Now, you say, why would the Diamondbacks trade Ketel Marte? And from what I understand, they would have to be overwhelmed to move him. But there's some maybe clubhouse internal issues with Ketel. He, asks for a lot of days off. Supposedly doesn't like to grind it out and play every day. Rubs some of his teammates the wrong way. So
that'll go over well in Philadelphia.
That would. Oh yeah, exactly right. But let me tell you what.
That won't go over well in Philadelphia, but boy, is he a talented son of a gun.
And he's a right-handed stick.
Right-handed switch hitter. He can do so many things. You don't like the fact that he's got some hamstring issues. He plays about 125 games a year instead of 160, right?
Yeah.
Averaging something like that. Can't remember the actual numbers, something like that. I could be exaggerating, but is he talented? Pound for pound, maybe the strongest player in Major League Baseball.
He's a tremendous.
He is wound like a. I
say Hazen from Arizona called Dave Dombrowski, says, what, we'll listen on Ketel Marte. I don't know what kind of package it would take to get him. It would. I don't even know if the Phillies would have.
How about toss him into center field, which he once did?
He did. Can he play center field? Is there a reason why he's back?
He's okay. I don't think he liked it. I'm not sure what but they had a ton of center fielders. They got nothing but athletes in the outfield. So they didn't really need him to play center field, but the Phillies could take him in center field.
He's got a few years left on his deal, right, Todd?
He is signed.
Like 4 years left.
Yeah, he's got yes.
It's a pretty damn good deal.
But he also, I read some of those stories, and I've heard that he's very, very comfortable. If he was like playing for his next deal, I might be more interested. I like the player. I like the talent, but you question the drive a little bit.
Again, this is one of those situations where you dig sort of deep.
Yeah.
You try to find out who knows him, who's played with him, who understands what makes him tick. Could be a little misunderstood. May not like playing in Arizona. Not the greatest place in the planet to play because the fan base isn't that great.
Mm-hmm.
Would he be more fired up playing in the East Coast? Would he like to, show off his wares a little bit more? There's a whole, slew of things that you just don't know about, but that's where digging deep and getting into some of these guys' psyche and having really good scouts who have done their digging can find out a little bit more about them. But super talent, but a risk.
You're talking about makeup. You got to find out about a player's makeup, whether he's a high school senior and you're considering drafting him, or a college junior, or a trade candidate, or a minor leaguer you might acquire or pick up on waivers. Makeup means so much.
Ruben, well, who's the most, when you were GMing, assistant GMing, and you guys are going to make a trade, who was the most random, random person you might have contacted about a player? And maybe you can't come up with anything specifically, but I mean, I always heard that you guys would talk to the clubbies and, obviously scouts, obviously people that, in the game that might have worked with the guy or whatever, but you really talk to a lot of people, right? I mean, when it comes to making trades.
I probably should have talked to even more. I sometimes kick myself on some guys because you have to make decisions sometimes fairly quickly, and you don't get the entire piece of the pie as far as making the decisions. But I remember just calling certain guys who played with a guy. Mm-hmm. I like people who know him intimately in the clubhouse and dugout.
Behind the scenes guys.
Behind the scenes guys. I probably should have called Kevin Steinauer a few more times than I did because he's a visiting clubhouse guy. Probably should have leaned on him a little bit more as well. But if I knew a trainer, not to ask about the medical, but if I knew a trainer who had dealt with him, sometimes knowing you hear a lot on that training table.
Mm-hmm.
And in that training room, I would make a phone call from time to time with that guy and have a discussion like, is this guy okay? What's this guy like? What do you got on him? I didn't mind doing that as well. So,
well, Gillick was a master at that. I heard
the best I've ever seen.
I don't think this is an exaggeration. He would, if he knew the bus driver, he would ask the bus driver, how does he treat the little people? No, seriously, is he a D-bag? Is he a good guy? You know what I mean? Is he a good person?
He did it. Yeah, he did it to high school coaches.
What was the story, Ruben? I think we can tell the story. You were thinking of signing the kid who pitched for the Tigers.
There was a right-hander named Muller, I think.
Brian Muller or Muller?
I think it was Brian Muller. He was a right-hander.
And Gillick picks up the phone.
I'm sitting there in his office. I've never seen anything like this. He picked up the phone. I think the kid pitched in like Utah or some obscure Minnesota. I can't remember where it was. Pat would remember. And I'm sitting there in his office and he picks up his phone. He doesn't even look into he had this little black book. Didn't even look into his black book. Opens it. He didn't even open it up. He took it out. But see, I think I remember this number. Ding, 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 ding. And he dials the number of the high school coach and said, because Muller was coming back off of a surgery or an injury. And he goes, hey, is Brian working out up there in your place? Because it was in the off season. He said, yeah. How's he look? Oh, he's throwing good. He's long tossing and, he's gone. Has he gone off the mound? I mean, he's asking these questions. I'm going, it was his high school coach that he saw, that he knew when he was going to draft him.
Yeah.
When he was in the draft and before he was drafted. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that made Pat Gillick a Hall of Famer. I mean, obviously he had so many different talents and did so well with being able to manage people and understanding, putting pieces together. But the thing about him was that he had the ability and the mentality and the know-how to find the information. He used that phone like a damn weapon. And he weaponized that phone to the point where he could do those sorts of things. And, you learn from that. I mean, obviously I learned some of that from Ed Wade too, and trying to be as resourceful as possible. But man, there's nothing like information. Information's power. And at times, I kick myself. I should have gotten more on certain guys.
Well, and for people that are listening to that story and going, all right, Pat, there's no way Pat called that guy's number from his mind, just from straight off the top of his head. Oh, no, I've seen him do it. When I was working on the Roy Halladay book, I was talking with Pat right outside the press box in Clearwater, and I was talking about some of the Blue Jays scouts that had seen him in Denver. And he goes, why don't you call blah, 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 673-421, blah, 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 blah. And then call this guy. And I'm like,
memorize the OAG, guys. Every single flight in the planet.
I mean, Pat Gillick, absolute genius.
Genius.
I mean, again, telling me scouts' phone numbers from the Roy Halladay draft over 20 years ago. He had their names and numbers. Called it. Here the number. Called him. Picked right up. Anyway, that's great. You got to get the information on the guys. All right, a couple more second basemen here. Brandon Lowe from Tampa. Now the Rays are going to pick up his option. I'm sure it's about like $11.5 million, I believe. Does guys give you any flow, second baseman, if something would present itself?
So he has more power. He's got more power than just flat out. What is he at? Like maybe average somewhere between 25 and 30 home runs over the course of his career. Maybe not that high. He's got a little bit more power than does Stott. But to be honest with you, Stott, if you start comparing Stott to some of these other guys, he doesn't really give me as much flow as Stott does in some certain ways, even though Stott has had his ups and downs offensively for this team because he's so good defensively, man. And that's important.
And Brandon Lowe is not. He does not grade out well.
He's not grade out well defensively. Not nearly as good as Stott.
Now, here's a guy that I would be interested in, the Cardinals and Brendan Donovan. Donovan, he's a second baseman, but he also plays third base. He also plays in the outfield. He's under team control through 2027. He doesn't chase a lot, doesn't swing and miss a lot, doesn't strike out a lot. He also doesn't walk very much, but he can play all over the place, and so he'd be kind of interesting.
Great year, left-handed bat, right?
Left-handed bat.
He's a good player. He's really, all-star season last year.
Yeah,
good player.
Like him. That's a good name. He gives me flow. There's no question about it. I just, if you're going to move Stott, you better get something of quality back for him. It's going to have to be more than just, like a decent bullpen arm. It's going to have to be a guy that can hand the baseball to Duran. You know what I'm saying? Somebody like that under control, like really good. Really good.
Exactly.
And under control.
Yeah, and I don't know what kind of defense Donovan can play at third base, and that brings us to third base. And Alec Bohm was obviously talked a lot about last offseason. The Phillies tried to move him, didn't kind of get a lot of interest on him, and so they kept him. Maybe they try to move him again this year. I don't know what kind of interest will be in him this offseason. But there are a couple third basemen who could be available in the trade, and one plays for the Cardinals, and that's Nolan Arenado, who's owed $42 million over the next 2 years, and he is on the decline if you look at his offensive numbers the past few seasons. Yeah,
you'd have to pay it way, way down.
Way down, and now so they would pay it way down, and just kind of like you cross your fingers that he comes to Philly and he finds the fountain of youth for 1 year and you win a World Series. That seems kind of like a gamble.
Yeah, it's a big gamble.
It's a big gamble. He's a right-handed bat, bounces things out a little bit. That's a nice thing. Mm-hmm. Always a great defender, not as elite as he once was because he's slowing down physically a little bit. But, he's probably dead in the water there in St. Louis, even though they have a nice little resurgence at the end of the year.
Yeah,
I got to believe Chaim Bloom. Are they pronouncing his name Chaim still, or do they change it?
I think it's
I think it is Chaim because some people I've heard other people refer to him as Chaim Bloom. Like what?
Oh, really?
Anyway, my point is, I think Chaim's probably going to want to get him out.
Yeah,
he's probably seen it enough. He probably wants to get him out. I think Philly would be the kind of place that he would go to. He's already said.
He'd like to get out.
He's already done that once, going to St. Louis from Colorado. So he's taking that off the table. So who knows? We'll see.
So at one point,
it's like low flow for me.
At one point, and this is going back, so it's not really relevant. But 5-6 years ago, I thought he was one of the most exciting players in baseball.
No doubt.
The way he could drive in and run, and just make a Brooks Robinson, Mike Schmidt type Scott Rowland type plays at third base. What a defender.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, so much fun to watch. He'll be 35 next year. Now, a guy who's 8 years younger and could possibly be traded is Houston third baseman Isaac Paredes, and that is because Carlos Correa is coming back. They're going to play him at third base. Now, the problem is I think the Astros would probably prefer to trade Christian Walker. I don't know if they'll be able to do that, but say they can't get any action on Walker, maybe they have to pivot and go to Paredes. I guess, you could maybe play Paredes at second base, but he had Jose Altuve. So, I don't know what you do there, but Paredes is under control through 2027. And,
good stick.
he doesn't chase, doesn't strike out a lot. He walks. He hits. He's about
He
a
can
20
hit.
guy.
I get a little concerned about that D though.
Yeah, he's not a great defender. He's probably like Alec Boehmish, maybe a little bit below that. I don't know.
I think he's a little below Alec Bohm. Alex made himself a pretty steady fielder.
Okay.
I mean, to his credit, I like the bat, no question about it. The Christian Walker thing excites me a little bit. And I know it was a big contract that he signed, and I know he did not. He had a horrendous start for them and was digging dug himself a hole. But he's like a local guy, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Yep.
And
he's a local guy.
He's just somebody I really like in the lineup to drive in a run, man. He knows how to drive in runs. He can strike out some, but I don't know. He just seems like a steady presence. I know in Houston it wasn't great for him. Maybe it wasn't right fit for whatever reason. And he can frickin' pick it at first base. Do you move? Do you get him and do you make Harper DH / put him in right? Would he do that for Christian Walker? Is he a client of Scott Boris's? I think he might be. I don't know. It's a question.
Don't know.
I know we're going to first base and we were talking third base, but
he's signed for what? 3 more years, Christian Walker?
I think it was a 3-year deal, wasn't it?
Yeah, he
So
signed
2
through
more
2027, 3 years, $60 million deal. So he signed through the next 2 years.
Right-handed power bat. If Harper would, if you don't sign Schwarber or if Harper would move, it's intriguing.
And you don't sign a guy like Alonso. I don't know. Take on that money and hope that he bounces back and becomes the guy he was in Arizona. I like the player, man. I like him.
Yeah.
I know he had a tough year, but I like the player and I like the balance he creates.
Yeah. Last year was not great, below league average, but last 3 years in Arizona, obviously very, very good. Okay, so when we come back, Ruben's going to tell us what's going on at Parks Casino. We're going to get into the outfield and maybe a little bit of pitching. Ruben, what's going on these days at Parks Casino?
It is my number one, that Parks Casino. It is my number one casino, and it is the number one casino in Pennsylvania. It's the casino of my choice because they have it all. They've got headline entertainment, the Excite Center. They got happy hour, the Liberty Bell Beer Garden, 76ers watch parties. 76ers are hot, as we know, had a nice start to the year. The Bamboo Noodle House, the Parks Grill, delicious steaks there. The best cover bands, the Bet Parks Sportsbook, a beautiful poker room, so much to do. Plus, Parks Casino is a go-to for the Birds on game day. Yeah, they're coming up on Monday night all season long, though. Check this out every Sunday at 12 noon and every Monday at 6 p.m. The Bet Parks Sportsbook serves up the ultimate Philly fan experience, my friends. $1 Miller Lights. That's right. Or excuse me, $1 hot dogs, $3 Miller Lights, and $5 Peronis. Pretty damn good deal. Plus wall-to-wall action on 150-foot giant sportsbook screens. Bring your crew, get your spot, watch and wager on all the action, on all the sports, and eat and drink like a real Philly sports fan. The tickets are on sale now for these headliners as well. On December 5th, you got Straight No Chaser. December 6th, comedian Ken Young. You got December 12th. It's a Led Zeppelin tribute. It's Get the Lead Out. ParksCasino.com to buy tickets for all shows. Parks Casino, this is how you win. You must be 21 if you got a gambling problem. Please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right.
That was one of your best ones ever.
I love it. We are back.
That.
We are back. All right. So let's look at the outfield. Now, the outfield is probably the place. I shouldn't say probably a place. That's the place where the Phillies have the greatest opportunity for change. This is where they have the greatest opportunity for change. Nick Castellanos probably on the way out. You don't know if Harrison Bader is going to be back. Looks like Justin Crawford's going to be in the mix. Brandon Marsh is still on the team. You never know what they do there, but there's a lot of opportunities to shake up this outfield. And Jim, you mentioned a guy a couple times now in the past week. Let's start with the big guy, Byron Buxton, Minnesota. He said last July, "No way, I'm not leaving Minnesota, man. I love it here. It's a land of 10,000 lakes. What's not to love other than the miserable winters?"
The Juicy Lucy.
And then you look at
the Juicy Lucy. That burger is delicious, right? It's a burger, right?
It's a burger,
It certainly is.
Yep. Oh yeah, you
With
can't
molten cheese in the middle. You burn your face right off.
It's almost dinner time for me here.
It's so Byron Buxton has 3 years left on a 6-year, $100 million deal. And you say, wow, for a talent like that, that's pretty good. But man, that guy gets hurt a lot. He gets hurt a lot of soft tissue injuries. But you know what's amazing about him is he gets hurt a lot, and this guy is still one of the fastest base runners in all of baseball. If you had Byron Buxton and Trey Turner on the team, you would literally have two of like the top 5 fastest runners in Major League Baseball. It'd be a hell of a thing to watch at the top of the lineup or however they hit him. So
he hit some bombs here in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
I know it's risky with the health history, but I think you can count me in favor of seriously pursuing it.
It's a great idea, Jim. I love the athleticism. I also like the fact that even though Schwarber, if they sign him back, is the DH, you can have this guy DH from time to time. You can slide this because you can put Schwarber in left. Maybe on that day you have Crawford play center, right? Mm-hmm. I just like the idea of the right-handed bat with thunder and athleticism. And if you manage him right, and if you put him on the field enough or not so much that it, you run that heavy risk of injury, he's an interesting fit to this team. I guarantee you, had he let go his no trade clause, he'd have been gone last year.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they traded the whole planet over there in Minnesota. Everybody from St. Paul to who knows what.
Bemidji
to Edina. I mean, they traded everybody. So I got to believe that if he would waive it and start off anew and would think that this is the right fit for himself, Nelly, I'll take him.
Good contract too. $15 million a year.
Heavy flow, even though he's injury prone. Heavy flow.
Heavy. So okay, let's go.
Everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was gonna say Jarren Duran because now I'm used to saying Jarren Duran. How about Jarren Duran from the Red Sox? They have a glut of outfielders, and there's some talk that he could possibly be moved. He's controlled through 2028. Struggled a little bit last year. Didn't 774.
He had some personal stuff going on last year. I think he's one of those perfect, I need a change of scenery dudes, and he's an energy guy.
Totally.
Like he's a dude that he'll feed off the Philly fans.
It's triples.
Now he bats left-handed though. Does it matter?
That's a little bit of a concern, but I have to delve into some of the numbers against lefties, but damn, he's a good energy player, man, and he's what a specimen he is, man. Holy,
he was like an MVP candidate 2 years ago.
Yeah,
not that far removed. And I think there were some personal things that he went through. Had to deal with some fans who were assholes to him.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and it might have been in Boston, may not have been, but man, he's a type of player that I think Philly would really enjoy because he's got some serious energy and vibes.
Yeah. A guy that a lot of Phillies fans were hoping they would get last year is Guardians left fielder Stephen Kwan, who is controlled through 2027. Now, you talk about it, you watch the Blue Jays play in the World Series, they put the ball in play, they didn't strike out. Man, that is Stephen Kwan to a T. But you look at his last year, he was like a below average offensive performer. He really fell off from 2024. And you look at his first 4 years of his career, is really, really good, below league average. Really, really good, below league average. So I guess, like you said, Jim, there's risk with every player, but Stephen Kwan, he would certainly give you more contact. He's a great defender.
They were on him in this summer. The Phillies were on him, and I heard the Guardians, I almost said the Indians, would not get off the name Aiden Miller. So if they're still on that name, you're probably not going to get him. But it is, I do look at, he doesn't strike out, and that would be very appealing in this lineup to add a bat that doesn't strike out. But he also doesn't really slug, and you can say what you want about the Blue Jays putting the ball in play. And I agree. They led the majors in hitting. They put the ball in play. They don't strike out a lot, and that's great. Every game they won in the postseason, they hit a home run, So I would like to have a little bit of slug as well. I'm concerned that he was below league average across the board offensively last year. But, there's a lot to like there. I'm sure Cleveland's going to have a very high price on him.
Yeah, my question is, this is where like the evaluation on a guy like Justin Crawford becomes so important, like what he's going to be. Could he be a Stephen Kwan with better speed? Mm-hmm. I don't know if he can be that type of hitter because I don't know he has the same bat-to-ball skills, but he does put the ball in play. He doesn't strike out a ton. At least he doesn't a ton in the minors, different in the majors. I get it. But is it that much of an upgrade to move a really good quality player or players to get him and pay for him and have him under control for 2 years?
Yeah, through 20 years. Right, 2 years.
When you have a Justin Crawford sitting in your back pocket, and do you have that guy be your left fielder and just, you know what? Let's go. Let's roll with them. That's one
time
way
to find out. Right. Time to find out.
Great point. So here's kind of a 2-for-1 because they play on the same team. How about Joe Adell and Taylor Ward from the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim? Joe Adell controllable through 2027. Taylor Ward will be a free agent after next season. Joe Adell had a huge breakout year last year. Big time power. Hits the ball hard, but he chases a ton. Strikes, swings and misses a ton, strikes out a ton, does not walk a lot. He's slowed down a bit, on the bases and defensively. Kind of took a bit of a dip last year. And Taylor Ward, good power. He strikes out a lot, but he also walks a lot. But his batting average has dropped each of the last 3 seasons. So either of those two guys, both of them hit right-handed.
Taylor Ward, going into his walk year intrigues me a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that Adell is it took him a long time. Boy, we've been listening to this name for 100 years. And he finally came through and became a guy. I don't know what he did. I don't know all the adjustments he made. But he finally became a dude. I'll take either one of them over Castellanos right now.
Sure.
As we stand today because of the defensive piece, the age, all that stuff. I would certainly take those younger players over Casty at this stage of his career.
Luis Robert Jr. If the White Sox come to trade him, are we out on him?
So tired of that name.
I know, right? There we go.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I hear you.
He's an exciting player. He could be a great player. Maybe he becomes a great player, but boy, you're taking a risk.
I'm not giving up a lot for the guy. You'd look like an idiot if he continued to be the player that he is. So I don't know what the White Sox would want for Luis Robert Jr. But
and he's got a $20 million salary, right? If they pick it up.
Correct. Yes.
If it's
there's a risk for them to pick it up because can they move him at $20 million? Do they want him at $20 million?
Yeah, are they going to pick it up? I guess they got 2 more days.
Maybe they don't. Yeah, maybe they don't. Okay, so here's a name that might be surprising, but my colleague at MLB.com covers the Mariners, Daniel Kramer, said if there ends up being some sort of payroll crunch, maybe the Mariners could look to trade Randy Arozarena. Is that a name that interests you guys? He's a free agent after next season. Now, this season he batted 229, 741 OPS, but that's playing a lot of those games at Safeco Field. So that actually is a little bit deceiving. His OPS plus, which accounts for that, was a 114. So he was above average offensive player. Strikes out a lot, doesn't walk a lot. He's had some good postseasons.
In that he's a right-handed bat and has had some productive years, there would be some interest, but certainly in looking into it. But he'd be down my depth chart in terms of
Right.
targets. I would have a number of right-handed bats in front of him.
I like the right-handed bat. I like his pedigree. I don't like the fact that he had the year that he had, but was Seattle a place for him? I had a feeling that there's something about playing in Seattle in the Northwest for him that wasn't really super appealing. I could be totally off base. Maybe he gets back into the East Coast, more comfortable, maybe a little closer to home. Maybe he likes that a little bit more. Maybe that sparks his energy. Maybe he's playing. Is he playing for a contract? He's got one more year.
That's big.
I think all those things are big. And he's got pedigree, man. He's been there. He's won some. So he's played in, playoffs and stuff. So he'll post up. I like him.
Last outfielder that I'm mentioning is and for those listening and watching, if you feel like we missed somebody or you want us to tackle somebody, send us a little note, drop it in the comments in YouTube or on social media, Twitter and Blue Sky and Threads, wherever, and maybe we'll circle back. So the last guy I have is just because he's kind of a World Series hero. He's had some big moments, and that's Adolis Garcia with the Rangers. 33 next year, free agent after next season, but the last 2 years, a combined 225 batting average, a 675 OPS, strikes out a ton, doesn't walk a lot. If you got like a guy that chases and whiffs a lot, hit some bombs from time to time.
What's he owed money-wise?
That I don't have that off the top of my head.
I don't have a lot of flow there.
Yeah,
it's very low flow, but I mean, listen, at the end of the day, he may be a guy that in February you don't really make a move and get a right-handed bat, and you're sitting there going, "Hey, man,
You give him to me.
if you hand him over to me and I have the payroll for him, I'm not going to say no. If I don't really have anybody else that I can slide out there in the outfield and hit right-handed."
well, he's our ARB eligible, Jim. So that hasn't that number has not been decided.
So it hasn't been decided.
Oh, okay. Well, it's still if you hand, I'd take him if you.
He may end up being a non-tender.
Ooh, now that would be
He could end up being a non-tender. So I mean, that's that can happen, and or a late like what is it? December 4th. When do you have to tender the players?
I think it's. Oh man, I actually wrote.
I think it's December 5th.
Definitely a Friday night.
It's actually the non-tender deadline is actually I think November 18th.
Oh, okay.
No,
So November 8th. Yeah. So November 18th or 19th.
21st or something.
You may see some interesting names out there or for teams that don't want to deal with that arbitration process and think that those players are not worth what the arbitration process would deem.
Yes.
His nickname is El Bombi.
Right?
The bomb.
So here we go. Let's wrap this up with some pitching, and I'm just going to throw out these starting pitchers because my gut tells me they're not going to go out and make a big trade for a starting pitcher. I mean, if you're going to let Ranger Suarez walk, and you have all these guys coming back, but I'm just going to mention some of the guys, the names that could be out there that could be dealt this offseason. We talked about Tarik Skubal a couple weeks ago as like a kind of a fun thought if they could actually make that happen. And you guys were like, yes.
Oh, man.
Ruben's in. I think so is the New York Mets.
The New York Mets.
I mean, you guys know how I feel about pitching and how important it is.
Come on.
And you acquire, I mean, you're talking about having the three of the best, like top 10 left-handed pitchers in baseball, starters, if you get him on in your rotation. I'm all about the talent.
Yeah,
And the makeup. I love this dude.
Yeah, he's aggressive.
He's a dude.
But it's, to me, that package starts with probably Miller, Crawford, or Painter, Miller, or something like that. And that's tough to, you got to get younger here.
And he's a free agent after the season. He's probably going to get $1 billion on the open market whenever.
$1 billion, maybe $1 billion.
Maybe $1 billion, maybe half a billion.
Don't look the gift horse in the mouth, pal. I mean, and there's no exaggeration. People see what Shohei Ohtani has done for the Dodgers. He's won them 2 of them rings.
Yeah. Other guys out there: Joe Ryan, Pablo Lopez from the Twins. You got MacKenzie Gore from the Nationals, Sandy Alcantara from the Marlins, Freddie Peralta from the Brewers, Mitch Keller from the Pirates are out there. So yeah,
MacKenzie Gore's nice.
He would be nice.
Sandy's nice.
The Marlins.
Cease? No, he's a free agent.
Who?
Cease is a free agent, correct?
I mean, there's some dudes out there. I don't disagree with you. But you never know what might happen, because if they don't get the offensive pieces that they need, maybe they just go super heavy on the arms.
True.
Crazy things happen like that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes you have to
adjust.
You got to improve.
Adjustments.
And then not really a lot of like big relievers that that I have written down, but Pete Fairbanks is a guy with Tampa Bay.
They'll move him. He's gone.
Yeah, he's going to make $11 million. Then he's going to be a free agent after next season. So
he doesn't fit the model.
Yeah. He doesn't fit the model. Dennis Santana from the Pirates, maybe. There's a couple relievers out there. I think that I tell you what, I think you're gonna have to maybe. You can always find some of those guys in free agency. Some relievers.
Santana's okay though.
Yeah,
take it.
Had a good year. He was a Yankee. They let him go. They released him a couple years ago.
Just never know, man. You never know where they're going to find their legs.
Right.
It's a crazy game.
It's a crazy game, this game of baseball. So, all right. So that we went through the list. We went through my list, unofficial list. If you are watching us on YouTube, you have any comments, drop them.
Interested to hear them crazy ideas. We have to have one of those. We have to have one of those like crazy, bold trade idea segments. So we should do that later.
Like Skubal for Edmundo Sosa.
One of those.
Yeah. That's like in fantasy football, you have a guy call you up when your buddies calls you up and he's like, how about, can I get Christian McCaffrey 4? And he names like 5 just schlubs, because he's giving you 5 guys for 1. So you got to make the trade. So that'd be fun.
People only knew some of the comments and how far off they truly are. Trying to evaluate the talent, what people think of our players and their players, they would be astounded.
We will have to do one of those. That would be fun, though. Maybe we'll have ask for people to submit some trade proposals, or and see if we will be the judge, jury, and executioner, and
love it.
Accept or reject it. So we'll be back. We're going to talk a little minor leagues maybe later this week. I don't know, maybe not. We'll be back on. We'll be back on Friday.
We always got a plan.
We got a half a plan, light plan, loose plan. I'll see you guys later.
All right, smell you later, boys.
Smell you, James.
The Philly Show is brought to you by the Foul Territory Network. Subscribe to The Philly Show on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.